Welcome to the Bob and Ron Show.
I'm Bob.
And I'm Ron. Today is November 1st. It is Monday. We have a lot of sports to talk about.
Ron, real quick before we get underway here, can you believe it's November?
No. Tell you what, it was beautiful on San Francisco. Great weather out there. But
Ron, I gotta
come back here, it's like 40 degrees.
We missed you very much last week, but
Ned filled in great.
Ned did do a great job.
Thank you, Ned.
And we're here. Halloween's behind us, and it's November, which means the shadows are longer and the days are shorter. And I got to say, Ron, this year is just flown by. But let's not get too sentimental before we get into this. We have a great show lined up for these fans, and let's just tell them what's going on there today.
And like I was saying earlier, before you interrupted me there, but we'll let it slide, that if you're a Detroit fan here, kind of sad. We had a lot of losses this weekend, but we're going to jump right into the rundown. And first, we're going to talk a little bit.
A lot of losses, Ron.
MSU losing to Iowa. I don't even know what that happened. It was a complete blowout. But we also have Michigan losing to Penn State. We'll come up next. Then we're going to go into a little bit of the Wings. They had 2 games over this past week, and they're going to go on a 3-game road trip out to the Canada.
The western side of Canada.
Side, exactly. And then we're going to talk the Detroit Lions getting their second win. Looked promising that the season could not be over. I mean, they might have a chance to make a run here.
Ron, I could not agree with you more. Cannot wait till we get into that.
Then we're going to dabble a little bit in the Tigers. Some more rumors have been brought up. And then we're going to the World Series, obviously, because that was huge so far. And,
yeah, I mean, that wasn't really a local loss, but I'll tell you it was a loss for the Bob and Ron Show because, as you know, and you fans know, Ron and I and Ned as well have just been completely 180 degrees wrong on our projections for the course of that World Series, and not looking good.
And then to wrap it up, we're going to talk a little bit. Randy Moss got released by Minnesota
today. Yeah, unbelievable.
Unbelievable. We're going to talk about places he might go, what's going to happen there, what shakes up in Minnesota, and his remarks about the Patriots.
Yeah.
And then we're going to talk a little Monday Night Football, who we got, and let's just jump right in here. Michigan State losing, heartbreaker. Iowa wasn't a heartbreaker, but they got blown out.
Yeah, I mean, what happened to these Spartans, Ron? I mean, you look at the score, 37-6, Iowa all over Michigan State all day long, and I mean, really, when you look at the game, you look what happened, you look at the stat lines. I mean, State just did not come to play. I mean,
they brought their D- game.
Yeah, and that's a lot different than an A game, Ron. But I gotta say, the D-, as you know, is not a good grade.
No, and don't forget Iowa is a pretty good team.
Iowa's a great team, Ron. But the thing is, I mean, State could not get their running game going, and Cousins was off passing. I mean,
he saved him in the past 3 games. What do you ask from a guy? He has 1 bad game.
I know. I'm just saying that was the reason they lost. I mean, they did not look good, and. You kind of looked at this team on Saturday, and you kind of got the feeling, maybe they're growing a little bit tired out there because Ron, they looked a little sluggish out there,
They've endured some battles. The past couple of games have been second half battles that probably took a toll on the team. You might be right about the fatigue there.
Yeah, traveling out to Iowa, Kinnick Stadium, they have not won there since 1989, and that streak just continues after this week. Very hard place to play. And, those fans came prepared to support their Hawkeyes, and unfortunately, Sparty couldn't come away with the victory. And, it was tough, Ron. It was kind of just depressing. You had a lot of people saying, this team is not a number 5 team. They should not be where they are. The rankings aren't justified. But then you look at them go in there, you had the hype surrounding the game. You thought maybe the Spartans could come in and pull something to keep the hope alive in East Lansing. But I got to say, maybe reality is going to set in a little bit for this team. I mean, they have 3 winnable games left. They still could make a run at the Rose Bowl, but they're really, they're going to need a little bit of help, and they're going to have to win some games.
Do you think, next week they have Minnesota. Obviously, they're most likely going to win that game. Minnesota's been in shambles. It's fired their coach. So
it's at home, I think, without a doubt. State comes away with a victory, and hopefully they can get back to their strong points, running the football well, effectively, setting the pass up with the run. And hopefully that defense can get back on track because they really did not stop anything that Iowa threw at them on Saturday. And, I think it's good that they don't have another tough game ahead of them so they can kind of recuperate and kind of get going back on that track.
Absolutely. And moving on, Michigan. They lost as well against Penn State. They were at Happy Valley, so that was a tough road loss. But I mean, you had to see it coming, Michigan fans. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Ron, and we kind of touched on this, when you and I were talking last week, and then when Ned and I were on the show last week, we kind of said the same thing. I mean, I could not believe that U of M was favored in this game, going into Happy Valley at night, primetime game, and you're going to give this inexperienced Michigan team the edge over Penn State. And yeah, Penn State hasn't had a very good year at all by any stretch of the imagination, but you still got to give them the edge playing at Happy Valley versus a very mediocre team. And they looked good. Michigan made a run for it in the second half. Denard still ran for over 190 yards. His passing didn't look very good there in the game. His completion percentage was, I think, in the 40s there. But thing is, they lost 41-31, and you're not going to win games giving up 41 points.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Bob. A lot of people on the show saying we're a little biased to Michigan State. We don't like Michigan. I'll tell you what, I'll give credit where credit's due, but Michigan's got to prove themselves first in the Big Ten. They haven't beat anyone that's a big team in the Big Ten yet. Until they do that, I will not give Michigan credit. They are not that good of a team. And I'm sick of people saying that Michigan State's not that good of a team, because obviously they are if they're winning against Big Ten teams. Oh yeah, they might get lucky. Lucky's part of the goddamn game.
I agree, Ron. I cannot agree with you more. And thanks for getting a little fired up there, because we've taken some heat from our fans online on the message board saying, "Oh yeah, don't call Michigan a bad team. State should be number 5." Bottom line is, State beat Wisconsin. State beat Illinois. State's winning these tough games, these Big Ten games. Michigan, you got to prove something. You got to come in to a place like Happy Valley, to a subpar Penn State team, and get a win. They played Iowa tough last week at home, but they need to win that game. If you want to be talked up there with those elite teams, being brought into the conversation of being a contender,
do something about it. Win a game.
Yeah, I agree. And fans, you can get honest about being biased, but the bottom line is you don't have any backup, because Michigan isn't really backing you up. They're not doing anything to prove themselves, and until they do, they're not going to get any respect from me. I mean, I'll say they're a decent team, but they should not be. Let's move on.
Exactly. Let's move on to a new sheet of ice. That's why we're going to the Red Wings.
I like it, Ron. We're Zamboniing the last thing, and we got a fresh sheet here. Let's go to the Wings. Ron, how'd they look this week?
They had a loss and a win. They lost to Phoenix 4-2, and then they just beat Nashville, which was a great game, 5-2. Yeah. Which they looked very strong in that. Datsuk stepping up, getting a couple goals and an assist.
Yeah, it was nice to see Patrick Eaves put one in on Saturday. And the thing that really impressed me was Chris Osgood in net on Saturday. He had some absolutely hellacious saves out there, and it was good because they needed that. So Jimmy Howard has the peace of mind, and so does Babcock, to say, hey, I can give my starting goalie a rest and still have a decent backup to put in so we can win a game. There's been same old story with Osgood, Ron. I mean, he's going to get the respect from some, get no respect from others. But bottom line is he's
doing work.
He's doing work. Yeah,
he's doing good. And there has been some talk. I've heard that they might split the third line, as Modano has not been producing either as Hoodler and Clear's on the line too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and bottom line, you're right, Ron. They're not producing now. I mean,
I heard a funny. Well, it wasn't funny. It was kind of sad to hear, but someone I talked to tried to tell me that he thinks Modano's done. He was hyped about coming back, and he played a couple games, and now he just wants to retire, but he's not. He's going to stick with the team. That's what I heard. Do you think that could be possible?
No.
I think he loves the game.
Absolutely not. Ron, I think whoever this total clown is that you talk to has no idea what the hell he's talking about. Because, Ron, you got to look at it from this perspective. Mike Modano's been in the league for over 20 years, okay? He's been with one organization. Yeah, he's moving on to the Wings now, but he's also moving home, Ron. He's from Metro Detroit. He's happy to be here. You saw that big grin that he put on at the press conference when he was down.
But that was before he knew he was going to be -7 with 1 goal in, 8 games, 10 games?
I'm going to tell you, it's only him that can turn that around, okay? It's not like he's expecting, I'm going to show up and be good. He's past that point in his career. He's got to come to the point. He's the center on that line, Ron. He's got a vet in Dan Cleary and a younger but veteran in Yuri Hoodler as well, and he's got to take that leadership role. How long did he wear the C for?
He didn't wear it for that long in Minnesota. He only wore it probably for maybe 10 years. He gave it up at the end of his career there in Dallas.
But the thing is, Ron, he wore it. So he has that leadership, and the thing is he needs to use that leadership and come in and say, hey, guys, this is what we need to do. We need to start doing this, doing that. That isn't a line that's going to give you speed or power, but those are 2 guys and Cleary and Hoodler that love to get in the play. They love to play dirty. They love to play choppy, and they produce when they, have the right conditions on their lines. And I think it's just to the point where they have to develop that line chemistry, Ron. Where you say, hey, I've been skating with this guy for blank and blank amount of months or years, and then you see them really starting to produce, kind of like what happened with Franz a couple years back, or Zetterberg and Datsuk, So it might take them a little while to get going, but I think with the talent on that line, there's no question that they will come around. And it might not be a bad idea to switch it up, get some fresh faces, some fresh legs in there, and see what happens.
All right, well, you can watch Wednesday. They take on Calgary, and then Friday they're going to take on Edmonton and Vancouver on Saturday. So nice little end of the weekend Canadian hockey.
Ron, there's also a very special day on Friday. That happens to be November 5th. And
it's true.
That's Ron's birthday, everybody. So, just make sure that you're sending him happy birthdays on the page on there, because we love to hear from you guys. And, old Ron here, I mean, he's getting up there in the years, but he's still got the fire and the passion in this broadcasting, and we're gonna keep bringing it to you. And it's Ron's birthday, so it's a great day.
Thank you, Bob. Well, with that, we're gonna transition into the Honolulu Blue and Silver boys, the Detroit Lions.
Woo!
Phenomenal.
Stafford is back, Ron, and I love it. I absolutely love it.
I love Kelvin Johnson.
I love Kevin Smith.
Kelvin Johnson was the fancy player this week, though.
I love Sue! I love Sue!
He deserves Pro Bowl. I'm telling you right now, Pro Bowl.
I love Sue, everybody! I love him! The guy is phenomenal, and it's great. And Ron, this whole team looked like a team on a mission yesterday. They said, hey, we got blacked out Metro Detroit. Well, now we're going to black you fans out with winning. Because they did, Ron. They came in with passion. They came in with fire. And Stafford threw for 4 touchdowns. Johnson caught for 3 touchdowns. Sue had 2 sacks, 1 touchdown on a fumble recovery, and this team is starting to have fun out there. They got their weapons back. They're fresh off the bye week, and now you're starting to see what the Detroit Lions are capable of. Take it away, Ron.
Tell you what, Randy Moss would be a great pickup for this team if they want to dish out the dollars and get a second huge, big-time receiver. They could make the playoffs.
Ron,
I know we're not dabbling into that till later, but Randy Moss could be an asset right now.
No, he's more of a distraction, just like like you were talking about in baseball with Manny Ramirez. But
if he distracts him, that's Johnson open more.
Ron?
But we're not going to talk about that. We'll talk about that later. We're going to go into the Lions here. We're talking, they played amazing. They made Donovan McNabb sit on the bench.
Yeah, for Rex Grossman, so you know something the hell was wrong.
But, unbelievable.
But this team looked great. And honestly, Ron, with Stafford back, with Johnson healthy from that shoulder bang-up, from Best coming back from the turf toe, from the defense getting fresh up, Levy looked great yesterday, and this is a team, and I'm not saying this because I'm an eternal optimist and I'm a huge Lions fan, although that may be part of why I'm saying this, but Ron, I think they can make a run for it.
I agree too. I mean, if they
division,
they got the Jets next. If they can beat up on the Jets here, that's gonna be a tough battle. If they can beat the Jets and they go on a run, you might be right.
I mean, the Jets lost 9-0 versus the Packers this week, and the Lions are a team that should have beat the Packers. So that kind of shows you that they can play with the Jets.
And don't forget, they still got to play their division a lot more. Their second time around coming.
They still have to play each team in the division once more at home. And Ron, the other 3 teams in the division are weak. Minnesota's banged up, not looking good at all. Same as Chicago,
they can't even.
And Green Bay hasn't impressed. And the thing is, Ron, they have easy games versus Buffalo and Tampa. They have the division games left, like we just said. And, the Patriots on Thanksgiving, I think they could beat New England right now. New England hasn't been that impressive. I mean, Ron, if they can get
I don't know about that.
If they can get going on a roll and get some momentum, I really think they could do something. I'm a believer.
I'm a believer too, but the Patriots, that could be a loss. They can get 1 loss out of there. But, I mean, if they go on a run, they have a chance to make it. They're playing fired up football right now. I love it, and I don't know. You got anything else to say about these Lions?
Well, Ron, I have to say, we're running out of time here in the first part of the show. So I say we're going to cut to break right now, and we're going to come back in the second half, finish up on the Lions, and then talk about some other stuff as well.
All right. Well, we'll see you in 2 seconds.